Go. Mazikeen backs away from Amy and says, Amy, you should go now. Amy looks at Charlie and Charlie says, just go baby. Run like hell, and Amy opens the door and looks back at Charlie and says, I love you, and Charlie says, I love you too. Amy starts running in the rain and Mazikeen looks at Zombie and says, run that bitch down. And Zombie runs after her and Charlie grabs his sword and says no and tries to run after Zombie, and Mazikeen spin kicks him towards the kitchen and smoke and fire spreading from dungeon. Mazikeen is standing in front of Charlie and says, come on Charlie, let's play. Charlie grabs his sword and their swords clash. The song For Those Who Wait by Fireflight starts playing. Amy is running through the woods behind the castle as she being chased by Zombie, and Amy sees Joe's body with his Colt 45 in his hand and she grabs it, and Zombie starts slashing up her back with its razor claws and she falls to the ground, and when Zombie turns her over and she shots Zombie in the face. Zombie is screeching and drops to its knees, and Amy quickly gets up and runs towards the front of the house and she sees Joe's Porsche and she jumps inside it, and she realizes no keys, so she tries to hotwire the car, which she learned while living on the streets as a kid, but it has been a long time. The castle is on fire. Mazikeen and Charlie are sword fighting all over the castle. Music gets louder. Mazikeen is dodging every move Charlie throws at her, and Mazikeen is slicing up Charlie and blood is pouring out of him, and Mazikeen is thinking that he should be getting weaker because every hit she did to him was cutting his main veins. Charlie roundhouse kick Mazikeen towards the flames, and Mazikeen gets caught on fire and her demonic face is exposed. Mazikeen comes out the fire with her sword and she clashes with Charlie's sword and both swords break in pieces. Both in shock for a moment. Charlie and Mazikeen find themselves back in the living room surrounded by fire, and Mazikeen says, aren't you just boiling inside of your meat suit? Charlie says, the flames don't bother me, and Charlie takes his hands and lights them on fire with flames and says, I am fireproof. Mazikeen runs at him. Charlie uses his Chinese boxing training, which he learned when he did a China tour in '97. Charlie dodges Mazikeen attacks and Charlie goes for Mazikeen's ribs and burns her with the flames, and Mazikeen judo tossed him to the floor and has his right arm in an armbar, and she attempts to break his arm and she slams her leg on Charlie's face. Amy finally got the car started and she turns the car around, and Zombie jumps on the back of the car and grabs Amy's neck and is slowly tearing into her neck, and Amy drives the car wildly and she slammed on brakes and Zombie flies off the car into a tree, and Amy looks up and Zombie get up and Amy says, time to die motherfucker. Amy drives the car into Zombie and pins him up to the tree and crushes him to death, and she backs up the car and runs him over. Music stops. Mazikeen breaks Charlie's arm and Mazikeen gets up and pulls out a large knife and puts it to his neck, and Mazikeen says, I had a lot of fun, Charlie, too bad in different circumstances. I would have took pleasure in fucking you, but I got to finish my mission. As she is about to take off Charlie's head, Amy is standing in the doorway with a black motorcycle and is revving it up, and she says to Mazikeen, get the fuck off her man, and she aims the motorcycle at Mazikeen and she lets it go and it shoots at Mazikeen and it pins her against the burning wall, and Amy uses Joe's Colt 45 and shoots the gas tank and it blows up on Mazikeen.